Just in, George W. Bush in Abu Dhabi trashes Trump, embraces illegals, pushes Russian meddling in 2016 U.S. election by Gary Mayer for USAPoliticsToday.org. It's curious that former President George W. Bush couldn't be reached for a single comment when it came to criticizing President Barack Obama, as he openly admitted he was working towards the goal of fundamentally, quote, and radically transforming the United States of America. In other words, without asking anybody, right? Now, all of a sudden, as the former president finds himself in front of an audience on foreign soil in Abu Dhabi, George W. Bush seems to have found his voice. From The Hill, former President George W. Bush said on Thursday that the U.S. needs to welcome, quote, immigrants and thank them for doing the jobs that Americans won't do. Americans don't want to pick cotton at 105 degrees, but there are people who want to put food on their family's table and are willing to do that, he said, according to the Associated Press. We ought to say thank you and welcome them. What I tell you, one world government, drop you down to a third world country, and then there won't be any more jobs. You're going to have to be competing with foreigners. Speaking at a summit in Abu Dhabi, Bush criticized President Trump's approach to the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA program, which protects undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children from deportation. America is their home, Bush said, of DACA recipients. The former president also told his audience that there is clear evidence of Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The Hill reports that Bush made the comments while speaking at a summit in Abu Dhabi, according to the Associated Press, at a time when tensions are rising between President Trump and U.S. intelligence agencies over the investigation into Russian meddling. There's pretty clear evidence that the Russians meddled, Bush said. The news service reported whether they affected the outcome is another question. It's problematic that a foreign nation is involved in our election system, he added. Our democracy is only as good as people trust the results. U.S. intelligence agencies concluded last year that Russia interfered in the election, and evidence that Russian operatives used social media platforms to influence voter opinions continue to build. Yeah, we heard about that Russian social media that they spent $100,000 both pro-Hillary and against Hillary and against Trump. They were basically 50-50. He's just following in his father's footsteps, this globalist here, George W. Bush, and he thinks he has any relevancy in what he talks about. So in other words, he was pushing for Hillary to get in, right? So what does that tell you? One criminal to another criminal. Yeah. And now it seems like from the Q, you hear about the Q posts and everything, and you know that John McCain is also in the father's pocket, George H.W. Bush. So now you understand where McCain's coming from too in all of this? You see, the globalists trying to bring down America. That's why they said this has been going on for decades. It started with his father there, not George, the father. And McCain is in the pocket of the father. That's why he handed the dossier over. What do you think? To take down Trump. And now George W. Bush is coming out swinging because he knows that Trump is going to expose all of these traitors. And I can't wait I hope that executive order, it pertains to them, because I'd love to see them go in I'd love to see the military come in and arrest both George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, along with McCain. But the Bushes are the key figures in all of this. They are the corrupt ones that started this whole corruption that allowed Barack to get into office. You see, it stems decades ago. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.